Oh, hello. This is kind of a video, I suppose, directed mostly at Karen Kobie, to be serious, on this whole kind of science and absolute truth thing. Mostly because I think, although this was kind of discussed in the comments, but I think you were kind of left with the impression that that people were disagreeing with you, or perhaps the only reason people were disagreeing with you, or making criticisms rather, was because they had some kind of investment in this absolute truth thing that you're talking about. Whereas I think that would be a mistake, to think that, and certainly talking for myself, the thing that was uppermost in my mind was how people would react to this characterization of science being a claim on the absolute truth, and I'm sure that was your motivation too. But I think you were not recognizing that. I think people were criticizing your position from a point of view of how that this was a mischaracterization of science, and that people are, a lot of people are well aware of how science is mischaracterized in this way, and that there are plenty of people with an agenda who will be quite happy to lap up that mischaracterization. And so I think it's a subject that you have to be a bit careful about, because as well as the religious people who the more fundamental end of the religious lot, who will see science as some kind of threat to their sacred texts or whatever. There's a whole spectrum of people who, for one reason or another, are frightened of science, or find science distasteful, or have reason to denigrate science, to reinforce their own position on things. So this isn't merely ignorance of science. That can be, so people can be quite fearful of things that they don't understand, or they didn't pay attention at school or whatever, and find it frightening. Sorry, I went off on a bit of a tangent there. Yeah, so I guess you and me both are worried about how science is portrayed, And I guess what your point is that, you know, you sometimes have people who are fans of science who claim that science is going to tell us everything we need to know about life or whatever. Whereas I'm more worried about you portraying scientists, the process of science as claiming that. And so I was a bit, you know, I don't know anything about this Atkins guy. I've never met him, and not familiar with his work or anything like that. But I didn't see anything in his essay or talk or whatever it was that would lead you to label him with this thing that you're objecting to. But you know, I could see plenty of scope for, as I say, these people who have some kind of agenda or take on science that they would use the kind of argument that you made as ammunition for their own purposes. And you know, you only have to look at your own comments to see that is so. You know. So I know I made some notes, and you know, there are at least 5 or 6 posters who were congratulating you or agreeing with you, and well, not only congratulating you or agreeing with you, but then slipping in their own little lines. You know, so you've got the straightforward religious types, as Inmendham, you know, wanting to slip in his yeah, I agree with you, you know, but and evolution is a lie. And then you've got Laurie Layla, who's generally pretty sound, but wants to slip in her science is fundamentalists, and scientists need to realise that they need to look beyond their preferred boundaries, and that actually spiritual people are much better at that sort of thing, and you know, and in that sense they're more scientific. And then you've got the philosopher types who want to point out that there are limitations as to what science can tell us, you know, as if that's anything that we didn't know already. And then you've got people who've got some kind of weird things like saying that we have to recognise that we and even our great-grandchildren are so far away from anything that we can call truth that we won't get anywhere near it. Or, you know, or people that just want to seem to believe that dogma is rife in science, just like anything else. So, which I guess is kind of a well, reading between the lines is a kind of a useful tact if your own point of view is dogma, and there's not a lot, you know, there isn't anything you can do to defend yourself against the accusation that you have dogma. You know, probably the best thing to do is to claim that the other guys have got dogma too. I think more generally the problem with this, and the general problem with people's attitude to is how they were well, our you know, we probably have a psychological bias towards wanting to have sound ideas towards things, but we're certainly conditioned that way. You know, when we go to school, we're generally not taught science very well. We're generally taught, you know, this is what we've found out, go away and learn it, which is not how the process of science works. And I think that as people get older and a bit more testy with the world, and realise that a lot of what they've been taught by their authority figures are actually lies, if not, well, gross simplifications of how the world is really how people, you know, I think people can deal with that, and they go in different directions as a reaction to that, and that some people tend to become even more kind of the search for 100% truths becomes even more ingrained in them, and so they tend to like solid answers to things, even if those solid answers are wrong. And then there are others who almost for the same reason, but they kind of go, it doesn't seem like it's the same, but I think it kind of is. So it's the other side of the coin, is that they tend to want to believe that we can't say anything about the world, and that they want to keep everything open and in a kind of a non-productive kind of a way, in a non-thinking way, and in between those two kind of reactions is a kind of sort of thin sliver of a way to proceed, is to, you know, to condition yourself to become comfortable with doubt, with not always having the answer to things, but for that not to be frightening, and to not need to know the whether any of the truths, provisional truths as you call them, are actually the truth, and that, you know, in my anecdotal sort of evidence of dealing with scientists, you know, that the people who go into science tend to be of that particular, that slither of mindset that falls between this kind of these two reactions to dealing with doubt, and it seems rather outrageous, I suppose, to accuse science in general and scientists of that failing. I mean, they tend to be very strange people in various different ways, but I don't see any evidence of it in my own dealings that would lead to the characterization that they espouse absolute truths and have closed minds to alternative ideas when they come along. Lovely. Brilliant soundtrack.